really get a chance to play as we now head into our very first map here as we go into Miramar for lower bracket. Yeah, I'm curious to see if the teams that did not play are able to immediately start the ball rolling, or if it's going to take them a little bit of time because they didn't get the extra reps in the winners.
And now there is a region I should say, that we've been speaking quite a lot about, but one of the teams that we usually mention in that region that we haven't, Daytrade. Even Daytrade is here, and how are they going to turn this one around? I feel like every single team outside of them and Forest have really showed up out of the APAC region. I feel like this is their time to really turn that ship around.
Which is very strange to say, because you're absolutely correct, but when you think about the APAC region, and before we kind of saw how disgusting Cerberus, the Expendables have been, as well as the other teams, is Daytrade was kind of that team you thought about, right? The team that's going to come and perform at the international stage and really kind of, you know, push the pace and play the game and impose their will on the other teams. That has not been the case. In fact, they have been struggling even in just their simple rotations.
Yeah, it's not been easy. It's not been easy at all. Good thing for them is, I suppose, a lot of the teams that they were running into, NA teams in particular, at least Sonics, I mean, they kind of have been their Grim Reaper over the last couple of days. Yeah. They aren't here for them to have to deal with. Same thing with Gen G on the edge of the circles. They were also a team they've been running into quite often, and they aren't here either. So we'll see if Daytrade can get things going.
As you say that.
I say that. Pooh Chills, dodging and weaving left and right on the steering wheel, gets himself to safety.
Oh, could you imagine
that would have been the biggest curse.
It would have been awful. Yeah. Just first drop, automatically dead, especially because it's Daytrade. But I'm also, my eyes are glued to Na'Vi, Toby, because again, we expected so much as we look at the circle posting, very much north centering on water treatment. When we look at that team, when we look at their pedigree, especially the way they were coming into this event, we were sure that they'd probably make it out of the winners, but they just could not keep more than 2 alive past Circle 1.
They stomped their way through the entirety of PGC last year, winning every single bracket they were in. They had 7 second places in their 12 group stage matches during PGS2 here. And as you said, just like that, they can't put 12 games together in the winners bracket. But that's the thing, because that is Na'Vi. Sometimes you get the championship teams, the team that is literally unbeatable.
Yes.
And sometimes they just look like a shadow of their former self. And while it's not, as Super said in the interview as well, it's not the end of the world, because top 8 is still very much within their reach. It's just, sometimes it takes them 2 games to bounce back. Sometimes it could take them an entire tournament. I've casted tournaments where they didn't make grand finals this year. Yeah. During the rotation tournament, they're like one of the PGC point tournaments of the year. They did not make finals. And for Na'Vi, I mean, if they don't make finals here, if they don't rack up some PGC points, they're not going to go to PGC unless if they win the next EMEA PGC event.
Right, which again is also not guaranteed, especially because the level of play will always be increasing and leveling up. So yeah, for Na'Vi, we're definitely going to be just looking to see if they can just maintain their members throughout the first couple rotations, because as you said, and as we know, as long as they can just do that, the amount of second places they got in group stages, the amount of team fights they were actually winning and dictating, they should be able to do that. So as we now look at another team that's been kind of, you know, struggling is in 17, right? This is a team won the last event. We know how disgusting they were in group stages. Winners bracket, not so much.
Not so much at all. Again, I mean, it's hard to be a team that frags out, a teams that play comfortable when you have 2 APAC teams just farm. And the funny thing is, as much as I say that, Expendables, they're here as well. I mean, they're one of the 2 teams that really have been farming alongside Cerberus, but these winners bracket games, it became a 3rd on 5 show.
It did become a 3rd on 5 show, which, I mean, that's a whole other conversation with how amazing they've been. Is Menuda not going to take some shots into Sheila? Sarvam, a team that, you know, I feel like expectations weren't necessarily super high for them, but I also would like to see them just kind of make some of those adjustments and really just be more proactive. That's my biggest criticism of Sarvam, is the fact that they've been so passive in some of these games.
I feel like what 3rd on 5 has managed to overcome over the course of this tournament so far, we have had an issue with for Sarvam. But now let's hear in with DD Team.
其实进入败者组真的还好，因为我们出国之前就没有很对这次出国没有很大的期望，也不是说进了败者组就一定会怎么样，就是我们还是会尽快调整，或者也没有很不开心。团队其实最多了还是协同上面可能问题有点大而已，其他真的就还好。我觉得目前距离总决赛还有一步门槛嘛，我觉得先把败者组打好，剩的 其实等我们真正进入到了总决赛，我们才会去做调整。
Getting a chance here to listen in with Cold from DD Team. It's a interesting roster, and I like the way that he's putting this here. Yes, we can think about grand finals and how we want to do, but right now we're in losers. One step at a time, one bracket at a time. For DD Team, it's a somewhat new roster that's been put together with Mamu, the former player from Petrichor Road, phenomenal player during the time he spent with Ixleft and the other guys in that team. He got dropped. He came back and said, "I'll qualify. I'll get my vengeance on the guys that dropped me from the roster," and then he qualifies here again. I was curious to see if we were going to see DD Team just on the hunt for Petrichor the whole time as he was going to wave that banner, but not quite the case. Issue for them is they really are a one-trick pony. They really are a Mamu or bust team, and well, I guess since Mamu hasn't gotten things going over the course of this tournament, the rest of the team haven't really had a whole lot to go off of. And speaking of Mamu, here he is trying to make his way up the hillside. Issue is he has Batulin set right up above.
So weird to see Batulin in a high ground position like this on Miramar.
Hashtag sarcasm.
Oh man, yeah, no, he's always up in these high ground positions, and he's very much aware of DD Team. That's going to be an easy knock. He's going to find it. Let's see if he can get the flush. He will not, and they should be able to recover that.
Yeah, they shouldn't. I mean, the thing is, for Batulin, he knows that the rest of the team is there, but how much do you dare? How much are you willing to risk it? The flush is coming through. Oh, he actually gets it. The bleed out goes through. It's his teammates shooting from further out east. I believe it was Spiro trying to take some shots in towards Spaceman as he continues his journey forward. So trying to get the safety, not quite as easy as DD Team would have hoped for, but also, again, I mean, DD Team, a team with literally no LAN experience. There's a few of the teams in this tournament, Sabin being one of them as well, that we talked about just before, but I think it would be unfair to expect like master performances out of DD Team, especially when even though we have good teams, those good teams are playing their best PUBG ever at this tournament.
And the other thing that kind of interested me in the interview from DD Team is the fact that Cold immediately said, like, we kind of expected to go to losers bracket, right?
Yeah.
Which I wasn't a big fan of. I mean, obviously, like, yes, if you know that you have a lack of LAN experience, like, hey, it's going to be a little tougher, but you know, I would have liked to hear, like, you know what, we were gunning for winners bracket, but we just happened to go in lower. So that already kind of tells me where they're at mentally. But, you know, the fact that remains that they could adapt and they could make the adjustments necessary, but so far the start not that great, especially with Mamu going down first.
And if we were to look at their playstyle and how they performed in China compared to how they do here, again, I mean, as I was gonna say, with what Third and Five has really managed to do that Sabim hadn't, I can add DD Team to that same conversation. They played aggressive. In their own region, they played edge early, but then they swung in and claimed center positions. Here, DD Team are playing super passive. If we go back to the Sabim win, yes, they won the game on Erangel south of Pachinki. They were sitting down the entire game and came up victorious in the end. And while you can't take, I mean, away a win from any team,
no, you can't.
It's still just in the fashion that they came about the win. If you're relying on having every single circle play in your favor and having to do little to nothing to reap those rewards, you're not going to come out victorious, because not every single game is going to play out like that. You have to claim it yourself, and that's what DD Team did in China. That's what Sabim did in EMEA, and that's what we saw Third on Five, because they played very similar to Sabim, played very similar to DD Team in the start of the tournament, in the start of the group stage, but they just much more quickly became comfortable and therefore started going back to their own playstyles.
Yeah, and as a player as well, I'll tell you that the quicker you do get into those gunfights and you start just kind of get the adrenaline pumping, right, and you get the experience on land. I mean, even if you've already had experience, as soon as you win your first gunfight, you get a knock, then you start to, like, okay, all right, I'm here, I'm ready to kind of warm up, we're getting things going, and yeah, we just really haven't seen that from. I will say though, Sarvim actually had a really good start to group stages. They had a nice game. That very first Miramar where we saw Tyloo win with the emergency drop, and I was like, wow, okay, Sarvim actually is going to play their game here from the EMEA, but not been the case. And DD Team, again, in that vein. And the biggest issue for DD Team, I will say, Toby, is the fact that trying to play edge in these lobbies is a massive mistake if you're not used to it, because there are already so many established strong edge teams here.
And also, when we're throwing the caveat that emergency pickups is the thing, we had no clue how that was going to play into globals. We've seen few teams use them compared to regional play, but use them effectively. So edge play, not the same at all as prior to this tournament coming in.
And just real quick to bounce off your point, T5, again, a team that has liberally been using
Committed
those,
to it.
but
Yeah.
they've been using them to great success. I think there's only been like one drop that actually failed.
Yeah.
All the other
Yeah.
ones
Yeah.
were all success, which is, again, so impressive to see a new tool being used so well from a team.
And also, it's one of those things where there are only so many teams that can like have success with it. Had 3 teams try to do what Third on 5 does, neither of the teams would make it work. But Third on 5, off of some mediocre first games, quickly read, wait, no one is doing this? Why aren't we just doing it?
why
Like,
don't
just
we-
send it, sender. Why do the sender teams get to maintain their splits for so long? What if we just jump in, punish them, take away their spots, and get the wins off of it? Well, speaking of sender, that is exactly where Twisted Minds are going to find themselves off of this Western shift.
Yeah, Twisted Mind's very happy with this shift. As you do see, Batulin still on that same high ground he was earlier, and they have a nice approach as well. As long as they can just get Batulins through this kind of awkward rotation here by E-Arena, but this circle specifically, Toby, has so many different elevations.
It really does. And one of the worst aspects of it is that all the players pretty much exclusively are coming in from the southeast. You saw how even the teams up towards the northwest are still wrapping down in that direction. The split of teams is going to be something along the lines of 2 or 3 teams in the northwestern half and the entire remaining like 13 teams down towards the southeast, because they're going to get all jumped up here. But now let's see Na'Vi, 4AM, 2 heavy hitters, 2 top teams, and one of them could potentially go out very early here in game number 1.
And although you can share this compound, this is the last thing either of these teams wants to do. Is we do see a firefight starting to break out here. No damage has gone out. And yeah, this is a very strong position to fight for, because whoever wins this essentially has a nice foothold onto the southeast side of the circle, which is very, very strong.
Sure is. Ali are currently isolated. 3-1 split for Na'Vi. Not sure if it was intentional or not, but we do know that these buildings can be, I won't say easily defended, but if you have yourself a molly or 2 and a DPS as well, you ain't set up for success any better. So we'll see if Ali can do it on his own, because right now I don't think any of his teammates can wrap down to help.
But I like this. He's actually playing the bottom side, which usually if you are a solo, you would play it in the top. Because stairs are so difficult to push, but the trade is there. And Alia will fall. First casualty of the lower bracket.
Yeah, nice wrap around there from HSMM. They were holding the angle wisely, and now again they know they have full contain. They know that there's control on the other side. Tai Lu now wrapping around. I would be surprised to see them really get too much into this fight. But of course, 4AM hearing the vehicles on the northern side of them, they have to now be worried about how they position. So you can see Lu on the roof instantly jumping off.
And you have to, as you said, those rotations, they're immediately going to be able to see that angle, which would have been fantastic for this fight, but not viable now. Is again Na'Vi circle 1 to 2 already losing a member. I mean, this one is less egregious as they're not rotating. They just got crashed, but they just cannot seem to get it together, Toby.
Long's taking a few shots there, not connecting as much as he would have wanted to, as Shen now regroups with the rest of the team. Again, we got to keep in mind, this is happening on the very edge of the circle. We talked about how cramped it is down here. If you look up towards La Copraria and everything up in that area, there's so much space still to play around, but teams just can't get there, because as much as Tai Lu probably would have wanted to go further, there's way too many teams ahead of them already.
They do need to be careful. That position that they've stopped at as well, if the circle shifts, they kind of do get trapped in that gas station just to the south of water treatment. So smart from Na'Vi. I like that they're like that they're pulling off. They've already lost a member. They realize that 4AM is not going to stop this push.
They lose one, they lose full. Like as soon as they lose the south side compound, or south side building, I should say, the 2-story that Alia died in, they lose full control of what's going on. That was the wrap opportunity. That was where he could hold off the longhouse for them to run the other way. But now they lose it. They say, you know what, let's back off. And that is something that I like to see from Na'Vi. They have never been a team that overcommit to fights. They know when enough is enough, and they'll get out of it wisely.
Yeah, so they at least have 3 alive. They have sent it to that kind of little bunker building, and they will be able to flex out a little bit, but I do still worry about the approach, especially when you have a team like the Expendables there just on their south side. We're very much aware that a team is probably pulled up in that direction.
Definitely. Next circle popping in 5 seconds. Going to be very interesting to see where it goes. As you said, it's very hard to traverse this area of the map, and with teams already now being so much piled up, how is this one going to work? Savim sat very good in this one. Day trade as well in good positions. We know that the circles tend to favor these areas of the map, but how do the 3 teams in the northwest make their way down here?
Yeah, that rotation is going to be very difficult. You do see E-Arena being the first ones trying to make it into that bunker building there. They should have a nice position. They actually should be able to dictate quite a few of the rotations that are coming into the northwest. But we also have DD Teams Cold trying to make a push for that building, as we also see Forest will have to make their way into the circle as well. And
Xiao, that is
I think that goes there.
No, exactly. And the issue is, because of that happening, they have to dip off completely. Petrichor Caught full speed up the hillside, claims the spot ahead of them. That is where they would have really wanted, because yes, you have Twisted Minds in the compound just ahead, so they weren't going to sit there for long, but at least get some high ground, get an opportunity to scout further forward, and then make your play. But 17, off of a little vehicle mishap, has to disengage.
And we do see as well, Rello has fallen to Delwyn here. The Expendables are going to be in the remnants of what's still in San Martin, as Larix is going to take some shots at Friendly Fire, another team that would love to punch their ticket to the grand finals, as they are now coming in and they're going to commit to this fight. Toby in a first knock coming out from Roth.
Nice pull up here, great read from Friendly Fire, seeing two vehicles leave earlier, and now that is a good call for them there. In a 4v2, it works their way. It shows Chewy ain't done just yet, and Summer finds one as well. So a little bit of help coming over the top as the entirety of Petrichor now pulls up to assist.
And that was beautiful there. Nice little assist, as you said, and 2 members down for Friendly Fire. A nice nade going to get some damage onto Mill, and the knock is going to come out as well. So all of a sudden, Friendly Fire starting to make the comeback in this fight, as they did open it up.
2 for 2 so far. Chewy the only one up close. Yeah, Blue Zone 8 is going to do a lot of damage. At least the Sharpshooter should fall to it. Comes through, finds the flush on one. That's Roth making his way on in. They do still have Summer up the hillside. He's very limited in how much he can help with. There are only so many angles he can really do anything from. And I think Friendly Fire is aware of that. So they're really trying to isolate, not trying to allow for him to get more impact in this one. And oh my god, KMM from the north side doing a lot of favors here for Friendly Fire.
Yeah, that was huge. They should be able to recover Pixel now, and I'm sure they've realized that E-Arena was able to get that knock, and so Summer is going to be all by himself, and I really like that E-Arena just kind of getting a little aggressive, even just trying to be a little proactive, find those kills. I wish they would have done a little more, but even still, that was nice for them.
It's about racking up those points early. I mean, if you can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 kills before you've really had to do anything, like just taking third-party shots at a distance over the course, especially when we're only playing a best of 12, that can be you making top 8 pretty much just off of that alone, because your bad games will still be like 4 or 5 point matches.
We'll say, from experience, stealing kills feels very nice.
I'd imagine. Especially when you see tracers coming in from all angles, and it's like winning the lottery sometimes.
You're like, ooh, I got that one. Ooh, a piece of candy.
Exactly. 15 seconds to go till the new circle pops. A lot of open space in this circle that could really benefit some of the few teams that have compounds to their hands. Let's see now where this one will take us.
I do worry if this shifts towards Sarvim again. That area is so open and barren, and it does right on top of Sarvin, so they will be the better factors as they have the best position in the circle. But I want to know, how proactive can they get, and what will they be able to get out of it?
Exactly. What do they dare do? Sarvim, again, a team that when they get the circles, they don't like to do much until the very end game. But with a lobby that's so frag heavy like this one, if you go out with, like, let's say second place with 1 or 2 kills, that's just a 7-point game. And yes, I know 7 points, you'll take those any day of the week, but if this is your one chance to get a double-digit game, and you won't get any other chance like this, you need to capitalize.
And they know how devastating the circle is for the teams around them, and they know that they need to get some points. But again, sometimes even some of the better teams that are more proactive, it's kind of hard to get kills from that compound at times.
It is. There's some weird angles. You can't really engage towards the south either. But now, 4am, we saw them before. They found Aliyah. Now they need to find the entirety of Tyloo. That's crazy. Takes the first shots forward.
This is what I was worried about. Again, this gas station is a great position, but when you have a team pushing, it's kind of hard to flex out, especially with Game PT on the other side of that. As we also see, looks like HSMM is coming in from a wide wrinkle on the east, but yeah, Xiaopian as well on the back side of this. Blue zone grenades, they're going to start hurting Tyloo into angles that they are more favorable for.
Exactly. Force them into select few positions and then nade the hell out of him. Xiaopian spots one, can't quite get the knock on Shen, but Shen turns on a dime, double headshot comes through, and that is Xiaopian down.
He went for the flash nade. Okay, not so great. At least it's not going to do any damage to themselves, as they should be to get that up. And now we see LG making this mad dash for the shock, but it's going to be Xiao Wu and Xiao Bei completely defending, and LG is out.
Absolutely demolished. LG didn't have a nade, didn't have a blue zone or anything to lob down to try and isolate, and unluckily, that's them down and out.
That was also really smart from 17, though. They keep those 2 members on the southwest to make sure they did not get completely overrun there, and the shack defense was immaculate as Tyloo still trying to get rid of 4am on the backside of the gas station. Lu will be knocked.
Oh, Xiaoyang swings on out. It's Chen and Xiaoyang doing the majority of the damage here, as they have managed to fully reset. 2 knocks still on that southern side of the building, and now Tyloo knows they need to make a committed play. They need to make the play while they have the opportunity. 4v2 wraps around the side. First one down, though. Second one comes through. HSMM finds one more in return, so just like that, it's a 2v2.
And what a beautiful spray there. That was massive in order to keep 4 AM alive. As you said, Crazy and Shalu have been flushed. Xiaopian is so low, 1 HP. And HSMM on the backside just trying to provide as much cover as possible.
This is huge for them, though, because it was Na'Vi shooting from the other side, trying to force them off. But now Expendables are taking the fight to Na'Vi. So a lot of reaction fights happening here. They see teams rev out. They're trying to make a play off of it. But those same teams are getting backstabbed. The Na'Vi feeling the hurt for it for one. But for 4 AM, it's huge that they have forced off. And actually, Na'Vi, because of it, fall. They hear the fight down below. They flex out. But instantly, Expendables are there to backstab.
And Expendables have been nothing short of amazing when it comes to their windows of opportunity and when they've chosen to push teams or go for third parties. So not surprised at all for them to find that angle on Na'Vi as well and get the timing just right.
Again, we've talked about it in previous casts. Their time from decision making to committing to decision, like to executing, it's a split second of practically instant summon. 1v4. How many do you let through before you start shooting? No. First one shot at, backs off, 1 HP to work with, and that's the blue doing the work for him. So Sama, a little bit of a punch there, but not enough to take down the entire
anticlimactic. He's just letting Mighty know, like, hey, just remember, I was there.
Check every tree. You will never know where I am.
And DD team actually doing quite a bit of damage here now to 4 AM. They've been kind of taking shots at this fight as well as Game PT up there in water treatment, but now the circle is going to be very difficult to navigate. The south side, though, is completely under the control of the Expendables.
Exactly. Expendables flex out, they take full control, and now they can be the ones to peek on over the exact same spot that Na'Vi did just before, because they were the team to punish this angle. So they go, great, we took him out, now we got all of this under control. It might not be in next circle, but we damage these teams as much as possible. That's going to make our own transition that much easier.
Yeah, the amount of, I was going to say the amount of space they can govern. We'll get back to this one as E-Arena is really just taking the fight to 17, and they will actually just wipe them out completely. So very nice from E-Arena. Love to see some proactivity there, and as well as some aggression.
Playing edge, playing slow initially, but knowing when to strike, and they've now done it twice. First on the compound, up towards the north, and now on the shack, just down below.
We talked about it. Some of these teams that kind of lacked that proactivity, the aggression before, definitely need to show it here. So E-Arena starting off very well as we now see shots. Twisted Minds have been kind of taking their time on this high ground, coming from the west, as they are going to find a knock here, and they do need to clear these teams out because they know they need to kind of play this west side edge.
Sure do.
Which is going to be difficult with all the teams as finally Tai Lu gets rid of 4 AM.
Then the fact that they get to keep 3 up, if they do get the res up on 755, that is going to be very, very big for Tai Lu, because that's actually going to allow them to try and wrap forward. Issue is how much Expendables are going to be able to do about that. Nice nade from Hella. Lobbed on over. Does he find Deva with the second?
I don't think so.
He doesn't.
No, gets the flush, though, at the very least. That will be a point going their way. And D plus Key now in a world of hurt as they still need to rotate in. And Game PT, just the benefactors of this, just able to hold them out so effectively.
Very nice stand here from 2, make that 1 player now as Daka goes down. Hella trying to touch and weave, make his way across the streak through the smokes. He wants these points confirmed. They want the extra amount of points coming through. As there's just nothing he can commit to it. He knows that he's in trouble. He knows that Twisted Minds has the angle. He has to back off.
Yeah, just back off, get the res, do what you can for the time being. As Zenith now trying to get aggressive, but again, Twisted Minds not letting that happen. And this is a team, honestly, I would be the most afraid of, because you know they do their homework, and you know Batulans is pissed that they didn't make it into winners or grand finals already.
Exactly. I talked with them earlier as well. So they said that we have to play it smart today if we want to win. Everyone knows that it's not just we'll go losers bracket, it's going to be fine. No, everyone knows elimination is the next stage of this if you don't make top 8. So they have to play smart PUBG, and when they do, it's phenomenal to watch. Speaking of him, Batulans peeks on over, finds the flush onto 1. Zenith is prone on the street. He's going to be all right for now. But let's see now that he peeks on over. Oh, that's running straight into the nade, but able to get off.
8 HP. No, that is it. Perfectus will find it with a P90, no less. And now they actually have a nice position to play as long as they can just kind of do some damage and dictate DD team. They will be able to play that entire North Ridge.
DD team out of the shack. They've been playing it passive. I've been complimenting their aggression out of China, but they haven't been able to pull it off here. Now at least they try to make a play. Issues, they're doing it too slowly. Twisted Minds were allowed to fully reset in the north, and therefore they can flex out. They could backstab. Had DD team tried to execute this just a few moments earlier, there would have been no one shooting them from behind.
But that also goes to show you just the window of opportunity is so minuscule in these lobbies. You just have to make sure your timing is perfect. As now Day Trade will try to make the push, and they will eliminate the Expendables.
And it's Delvin's nade that takes out Duck Juice too. That is so unfortunate, but in the end, it's going to work out for them. DD team trying to now make the wrap on up. There's just 1 player on his feet for Day Trade, but 3 players knocked. If he can somehow get just half of them up here, that would be absolutely phenomenal.
And it's just going to be a matter of time now before Twisted Minds is able to take out DD Team and pretty much take control of the entire circle at this point. Twisted, a beautiful array of plays here.
Spaceman gets the knock on one. If only he knew there's points to be claimed right down below him. I don't think he has the idea of exactly where the opponents are over on that other side as Emo Pick gets blown up.
And again, let's just look at the amount of control Twisted has as we now look at this nade coming in. It's going to bounce beautifully, but the knock isn't there.
Not going to be enough. He's going to try and see if he can get himself some more. Again, 2 knock players right down below, but no one is seeing it. No one has an idea of what's going on. Spots Poochills in the end, but at least he got the rest on up, so there is still Belmoth alive behind the rock.
And he's doing so much damage. This is massive for them, even though the rest of his team is dead. If he can just get a few more points, that's another placement as well if he can just get Daytrade out of the way.
Nice aggressive smoke there by Belmoth, shooting it all the way up to where Spaceman is, trying to isolate the angle, trying to allow himself to wrap further forward, and now he's fully committed to the rest because of it.
Twisted, though, they realize this, right? They are starting to just kind of take a peek at the compound that Sarvim has been in and make sure that they're not able to flex out because, again, they have complete control of the north.
Exactly. Belmoth gets the rest up to 1. Now we go over to the other guys. I mean, how are they not dead yet? There's still not players on Daytrade. And at this point, you'd have to imagine that they're going to bleed out. Yes, Norrens is going to be the first one to fall. Flash is being committed to by the rest of the team. I'm not sure. But again, we talked about passive playstyles from Sarvim. Right now, they haven't flexed out yet.
I think they've gotten it maybe 1 or 2 kills, and they are trying to flex. But again, as you know, we've talked about ad nauseum at this point. You know, they're just comfortable. They're just going to wait for everything to come to them and then try to get their points. And, you know, it may work in this game, but I do worry about them as we go forward because they're not going to get every shift.
Poochills and Belmoth, the 2 lone survivors from the Daytrade fight of earlier. Spaceman spraying on through, has plenty of bullets to work with, so might as well see if you can get something. Picks up even more now as he got plenty of corpses to loot up on the top. But now Batulin's trying to wrap on over. He's going to see one, and that's Spiro feeding the info across to Batulins that he's just up above.
Sparrow was just staring straight into Spaceman.
It's like, nope.
As soon as he saw that, but again, as you said, look how much space this has bought Batulins. He's now pushed up on the backside of this, and if he can get rid of Spaceman, which he hears these shots, that would be huge for Twisted.
Spaceman saw one in the building, thought that's me safe. Why are they set down there? Why would the B1 up this close? But Batulins should have to imagine that he peeks on over now. Spiro pays the attention, not even needed, as it jumps on up, and now it's going to be rewarded with a crate as well. Already had a half 3 west, but this should be Spiro allowed to wrap out. And I'm surprised that all of them find us seeing a knock this far down the side. They hear the shots, it's far away, that Sarvim doesn't do more to try and claim this ridge line.
Yeah, I really can't say.
But then again, they just got the circle straight on the compound, so I guess that's also fair.
Sure, but I mean, again, the flex for the kills is there. We'll see how many they have once we actually do get to them. But yeah, Daytrade somehow surviving. I mean, again, you called it the use of smokes was very good, well done by Daytrade, cutting off aggressive angles there as they were able to do to deny DD Team the ability to wipe them as they were just down to 1 member at some point. So it is going to be a 2-on-2-on-4 here as we now head into phase 7.
Finally, Sheila flexing out as well. This is an issue though for Sarvim. Look at this global army, 9 bullets. I think he landed and looted here. He literally has not left the compound since the game started, so they haven't had a chance to loot anything but these 2 buildings, which of course is going to be very limiting in how much you can do come late game. We don't know exactly how much 762 he has to work with, but for Schiller, hopefully he can take out the players down below now with at least a player spotted. You can see that he's going to be marked as well. That should be, you'd imagine, a kill come through once that smoke dissipates.
I mean, at least they have 4 kills, so they haven't been completely passive. Yeah, they found some points here, and they should be able to, I mean, they should be able to clean this up, as we did see Poochills fall to the blue there. Belmoth now proning at just the right angle here, and Sheila is not able to get that knock, and the closer he gets, more time he might be able to buy. Batulins, though, just kind of staying, leaving Spiro where he has to.
Spiro has to just play the bait right now. If Batulins can peek on over and get something done with the Grocer, that would be absolutely insane. As I say, that shots do come through, but Spiro falls. It's going to be, I mean, Grocer works really, really well up close, but at that distance, you can't really fold anyone for not hitting it.
Ambitious is the word I would use there.
Exactly.
Batulins now knows that he has to back off, and this one is all just at this point in the pocket of Sarvim, and they should know this. And
you'd have to imagine.
2 solos,
You'd have to imagine that at this point they start flexing out again. I mean, no reason to hunt it. You still get off to a good start here in losers. There's a lot on the line. Don't want to finish bottom 8. That's you out of the tournament. And if the last win they had on Erangel is anything to go by, at least they went a little more aggressive this time around. Sheila flanking out. They've cleared off the edges, and they know now that both of them, in order to be inside the next circle, have to be in vision.
Yeah, they either have to be in vision or they're going to be on this very awkward angle here, this slope. And you see Sheila, as you said, with just a beautiful angle there at the top. He's going to be able to see so much of this circle and dictate pretty much anything as far as the movements come out of Batulins or Belmoth. This one's just a matter of time.
This is a sign of them running out of ammo because they're switching over to pistols now. You know what? But it's also another thing. It's also them having fun. And of course, I know they're dead serious, but it's allowing yourself to have a laugh in a very, very hectic situation. Not necessarily this particular game for them right now, because they're chilling in that compound, but overall, they're playing the last stage, their first ever global tournament with a chance of being eliminated, right? So to be able to come into game one with a little giggle, shoot some pistol shots in the air, have some fun with it, get a kill there in the end as Belmoth tried to deny, didn't work.
Yep, and now it's just up to Batulins in a very precarious position. I mean, he might still be able to get a point. With the Groza, I mean, you could very quickly melt members, especially if they're not careful and they're a little overzealous in their push. So, not impossible, but still very much difficult for Batulins as he will find one.
Damage done to the second issue as headshot comes in return. They know that one connected, that CC over the top, and they will claim it. We said that that kind of luck doesn't strike multiple times. They claimed it in their first chance, now they claim it again. Sure Circles went their way, but they brought home the wins, both on Erangel in the group stages and now here in the losers bracket first match as well.
Yeah, and at the very least, you know, we have been kind of talking about they've been a little too passive, but they did flex out there. They did get some kills, and I feel like they did enough in that compound.
Exactly, and in this compound in particular, you have no reason at all to try and do anything else. So great game, great win for Sabim as they come up victorious here in game 9.